Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's Women in Tech session. We had Katya and Julia joining us in the previous session, and now we have another two amazing women in tech, ELENA POLUBOCHKO and Laura MANESCU. So welcome, ELENA and Laura. Hey.
Hi, everyone.
How are you all doing?
Great, it's Friday.
Yes, thank God. So that's wonderful. Now let's do a little bit differently so that our audience also get a feel of, we did a fireside chat in the previous session, and this session we think that let's do it in a way that we all are having a conversation together. Let's see how it will flow, because we have very different topics of discussion. But let's start with first our introduction. So ELENA, let's start with you. You are the Cto of Godel Technology. So tell us a little bit about yourself, what Godel Technologies is, and also to give a bit of fun in this round, tell us about something fun about yourself. That would be nice to hear.
Okay, hi, thanks, Priyanka. So I am CTO of Godel Technologies. As you said, obviously, Godel is a software development services provider company working predominantly in the UK market with development centers in Belarus and expanding to Europe recently, which is fun. I joined the company when it was 20 people strong, and that was 15 years ago, which is already sort of a fun fact, as you can imagine. And I watched the company grow to 1,400 people, which has been quite a journey. I will be talking about gender diversity today. And actually, amazingly enough, I practice this at home because outside of work, I have two amazing kids, a boy and a girl, and that's always a battle. And they teach me diversity, inclusion, and patience every day, I'd say. So
wonderful. Empathy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's super important. So great to know about Godel Technologies and about yourself. What about Laura? Can you tell a little bit about yourself, something fun about yourself, and what do you do?
So directly me, I have over 15 years of experience in creating and producing software for various industries, including governmental institutions. And I must say there is nothing else that I would like to do, because I love every letter from the STEM abbreviation. I love science, I love technology, I love engineering, and especially I love math. And I truly believe, and I believe this since I was a child, in a digital world and the technological future. I was attracted to movies like Star Wars and everything related to technology. When I log out, I must say, just to give a personal touch about myself, I must say that I love music. I love to play the piano, and I also love psychology, because I realized pretty soon, thankfully in my career, that the saying, never stop improving yourself, it's not just a saying, and constantly evolving has a positive impact, both in our professional life and our personal life, and of course on the people around us. So now I joined Modex, the company I'm with right now, in 2016, and the company was creating back then the first fintech app with funds transfers in chats. It was called MoneyMailMe, and the company quickly understood the impact a technology like blockchain can have in creating software. So since then, we've shifted our focus towards blockchain technology, and in 2019, we've launched a product which is also patented, and it's called Modex Blockchain Database, or Modex BCDB. And this is a new take on the blockchain technology, because we wanted to remove the need to invest resources in blockchain training, because this is expensive both in time and costs. And actually, we wanted to facilitate fast adoption of the technology in organizations, and things like interoperability between multiple systems or decentralized financial systems are buzzwords of these days, and those are exactly the areas where the product we have created, Modex BCDB, has the biggest impact. And this is exactly my role in the company as Chief Development Officer, to prove the use of Modex BCDB in various industries or various areas.
That's interesting. So you have your company that's working in the blockchain technology,
Yes.
and then Elena, you have your company working in IT services. So that was really nice to know, and to hear the fun part about yourself. It won't be fair if I don't share mine. So just to make it all fair and nice game, a fun thing about me would be a lot of people don't know I'm a martial artist. I train Kung Fu. I have been training Kung Fu, and I'm on level 8. I'm very proud of it. So
wow, that's amazing.
that's something fun. So let's now go back to our geek stories. This is also, geeking around, telling about technology and then martial arts. I love the fact that you mentioned Star Wars. It's one of my favorites as well. So let's talk about then the stories of how did you become what you become, and we can hear from Elena and then also from Laura. So Elena, how did you become the CTO? What was your journey? Like, we had Julia in the last session, and she was mentioning how she started as working in the service desk, and then she got higher and higher. What was your story like, and how you reach to be the CTO of the company?
Yeah, I actually am coming from the technical background, and I graduated from the technical university, and IT was the natural choice, obviously, for people who graduate from the technical university. I started my career as a QA engineer, and then I moved fairly quickly to project management, because I have always been passionate about getting stuff done, and actually really resolving client needs and connecting developers and teams in achieving the best results possible. And then when I joined Godel, I was actually the first project manager here. And because we were 20 people back then, as you can imagine, in any small company, you do everything that is needed to get this over the line and to give it the best chance for success. So that was doing pre-sales activities, recruitment, running the project management office, talking to the clients. And then when the company grew and we got the team around us, helping us to do that, stepping into the next step really here, and actually building the processes around that. To be honest, I've never chased the CTO career. It just happened. I guess partially maybe it happened for the reason because I have always been passionate about making sense of things and bringing them into the system that is easily to understand. And at the same time, some of my colleagues said I was quite good in translating technical into English, which helped a lot here. So that was my journey in a nutshell.
Nice. So not very naturally you landed up where you landed up.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the same for you, Laura? How did you land up in the blockchain industry?
No.
Do you have a different journey?
Yeah, I landed, if I can say so, I landed by mistake. I'm also a tech graduate, and like I said in the previous question, software is all I know how to do, but I landed in the blockchain space by mistake because this is the company, this is what Modex decided to do at some point in their timeline. So I joined Modex after 10 years of corporate culture because I was in need of a change from doing the same things every day, and I was actually in need of a challenge, and I wanted to reach the next level of knowledge in software, and I wanted to go the extra mile and not just sit comfortably in my office chair developing banking software, because this is what I was mostly doing back then. So I landed in a startup environment, and all of a sudden I hear speaking about artificial intelligence, about blockchain technology, about software as a service and cloud infrastructure, and in a place where I had to do more than the job description I have signed, because this is what we eventually do in a startup. You do everything, and this is a nice thing and a thing that grows you. And it was during the ICO hype period, and in the period when events appeared, speaking about blockchain, it was the buzzword for all tech events starting 2016, like it is now. So naturally, when we shaped our powerhouse product, if I can call it like this, it's Modex blockchain database, I was already here, and this product is patented, and I believe 100% in the benefits it brings and how it can possibly and actually change the way we do things. So I asked for a challenge, actually, and I received one, and I wanted to work with a technology that reshapes the world. So I stayed exactly to do that, reshape the world with software that enables and software that fights the most important threat of our times, which is data security. So in short, I landed by mistake.
So landed by mistake, but that's a good mistake, because
yeah, exactly.
you know it when you like it, then that's a good mistake you made.
Yeah.
So now that we are having today our Women in Tech session, and it's a very common question. So when I started, I also have a background in engineering. I started in tech. I graduated as a tech. So my experience working in tech was very different, and that inspired me to start my journey to diversity, inclusion, to help the tech companies understand how to build a better company culture. But we have different experiences. And Elena, if I understand correctly, you have had a very different experience being a woman in tech in your organization. So let's hear a little bit about that. And maybe also, Laura, you can share a bit about your journey, because you have had such a long journey in tech as well. So let's talk about what has been the experience being a woman in tech.
Yeah, I hear quite often that it's very hard to build a career for women in tech. And to be honest, I didn't have such issues whatsoever. So sometimes I feel like an imposter talking about that, because I have always been of the opinion that it's your professionalism and passion that shapes your journey, really, rather than anything else. Thinking back, within all 17 years of my career in tech, I have met maybe a couple of episodes of tragedies, so I knew some sort of the double standards. But again, even when it happened, I didn't even pay attention to that, because I guess it's what you focus at, that matters most, and then you'll just find your way. Originally, I was brought into Godel by a director into the project manager role, who was specifically looking for a woman for this role. And that was quite an interesting thing, because the idea behind that was that he recognized that women usually are better collaborators, and they have high degree of empathy, they are more responsible, and they just get stuff done. And that was the whole brief originally behind actually bringing me on board. I was not the first woman in the company when I joined. There were other developers, other QA engineers. So even though it was a small startup, it was not fully male-dominated environment. And I think this atmosphere of recognizing strengths and weaknesses of the individuals and their passion and professionalism shaped the culture and the environment, which really created the great foundation for diversity in the teams and diversity in the company as well. So all I can say is that I love my colleagues, male and women. I think they are different, and that's great, because different viewpoints just widen your picture of the world and widen the way how you look at things, and everybody benefits from that.
That's wonderful. What about you, Laura?
Yeah, I'm happy to say that I was lucky enough to have never felt discriminated, to use this strong word, against in any way along my career or during my education. And I have worked in environments where skill over gender was the norm. The skill was the norm. If I can say a fun fact, maybe even at my first interview and my first job, the CEO there hired me because we graduated the same school, not because I was a woman. But additionally, I would say that maybe men around me preferred women more in IT, in the IT industry, because women have maybe some skills which are better pronounced with them than with men, like attention to detail. Just like my colleague said, attention to detail is something that we favor. Stuff like, and this has happened with me at Modex as well, because this is the company where I was able to reach my first C-level position ever, and I do feel here that I'm empowered. Yeah, so this is how I become a chief development officer.
That's really interesting when you say, your company empowers you, because it's very inspiring to hear such stories, because a lot of time we do hear different kind of stories as well. And of course, all the experiences are different and important. But what is then what makes this experience a positive experience? Because that's my work, what I dedicated now my entrepreneurial journey towards. that what makes some people's experience in a company really good? Is it like the leaders? So were your leaders very inclusive? Was your company culture open and empathetic? Was it your colleagues? Or like, was it everything about that created this positive experience for you, which might not be the case for many other companies? So what do you think?
Me or my colleague?
Anyone, go ahead.
From my point of view, IT as an industry, providing it's all about people, that already creates the great foundation actually for inclusion overall, plus also agile ways of working where you need to create the great collaboration atmosphere in order to achieve the best results. That's important. If you look at the agile values, actually, it also reflects this this postulate. From my point of view, the fact that in our company the values are culture. In the culture, people empowerment and quality, that is sort of like really matches well not only the women's strong sweet spot, but it's also like, just the overall people values as such. So being open-minded, valuing people, valuing professionalism, and letting people, like empowering them, letting them really shine. This is what shapes this good experience from my point of view, because people are capable of a lot of things if they are not restricted.
Definitely. What do you think, Laura?
Yeah, so you can never pinpoint as just one thing which empowered me along the way. It always is a combination of factors, like from the education, the quality of the university I graduated, like the family, the way I was brought up, my self-esteem, the market expectations, the labor market expectations, or the stereotypes that you currently have in the country. All these contributed to the way I was brought up to this industry and the way I felt empowered in this kind of environments. Plus, I worked in companies where gender equality was important and was part of their political procedures, let's say. So it was already a norm when I joined.
Yeah, I think that answers quite a lot in a way that there is a lot of companies, if there are companies here watching this session with us today, who are thinking about how to create a better gender balance or how to create a company culture. I think it's very important for them to know that it's all about people and their values and how they create this environment. And if it's just building that culture, which can really improve the experience of everybody, no matter what background they come from. So I think that's super important in that way. But moving on from this topic, because we have been discussing a lot about the gender topic, so let's move on to a little bit about journey topics. And I would like to ask to you, Laura, about you have been building like such a tech-heavy product from scratch, and you said that you landed into blockchain by accident. So, and you have been then partnering up with really huge tech brands like Microsoft. What has been the experience in that regard? What did you learn? And what would you tell people or women seeing this session today, that what kind of things you should be carrying in order to take these kind of tasks?
Just to start with, I never expected, never ever, and I'm honest when I say this, expected such a huge name like Microsoft to be such an involved partner for companies at the beginning of their road. They really are by your side, and I have never seen this appetite for helping an idea grow with any other big company, and I'm very thankful for that. Just to have a little bit of background, our company's journey with Microsoft started a year ago, and we were accepted into the Microsoft for Startup program. I think it was even presented before on the main stage. And at the end of last year, Modex's product, blockchain database, which is a patented product, was integrated with Microsoft Azure. And through this technological integration, Modex now offers this middleware solution as an infrastructure, as a service, offering on the Azure cloud ecosystem. So Azure beneficiaries are now able to deploy Modex BCDB in these subscriptions. And recently, because of that, Modex has earned as well the Microsoft co-sell ready status, and this was a confirmation that what we do matters, and has of course enables us to access new markets, and all of this because Microsoft was and is for us a trustworthy and involved partner. And the lessons I have learned along this journey is, the first thing I would say, that partnering with such big companies like Microsoft is always a thing to consider when you're a startup that wants to grow, because it might actually shorten your road to success. And the second thing I would say, a job well done always pays off. This is one of my mantras. And the third thing I have learned, Microsoft is a reliable partner. And this demonstrated somehow that Microsoft has validated our in-house technology. This is what this partnership has done for us. And this was an important step for them as well, because this tech giant, because this is a tech giant, is bold and open towards, is showing boldness and openness towards the emerging technology sector, which is full of startups these days. And just to finalize, you asked me as well what I would advise women, because I don't make a difference between women and men. I would say the same lessons, the same advices I would apply for them. Partner with a big company, do your job as well as possible as you can, the best you can do, and trust Microsoft, I would say.
What about, like, you mentioned that as a startup, it's a great thing to partner with the tech giants, but it's also a very scary thing to do, or it's also something that looks like not reachable to many people. What do you suggest? How to reach out? How to create your, let's say, the mindset in a way that believe in your product and reach out and have these big tech giants be accessible to you? How did you reach there?
It was with an email. Everything starts with an email, let's say, or a phone call. So I would advise everyone just to if you don't try it, you will never know. So you will just dream about partnering with Microsoft and never know. Because what this partnership does, actually, it validates your product, and it is a good thing with a partner which is open, just like Microsoft, to just do that. Go ahead and sell your product to them. Do you know your product well? Do you know what it does? Are you confident enough in your product so that you can present it to the Microsoft? And this is actually a test. You will not lose anything except maybe time, but even that one is not a lost time. It's a time that you spend to learn something. So the advice, it's short, just try it.
Yeah, try it. What about you? Like, Elena, you told that you joined Godel when it was 20 people company, and it has grown up. So what do you think were the key things that you might suggest companies to look at? Believe in the product is one, which Laura said. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally echo what Laura said here. And obviously, just we don't have the product as like a product in itself, but the service that we provide is also the product in a way. And obviously, when we go and get new clients, it's believing into the product, actually going and reaching out to them, just doing the job, and also doing the job well, 100% here, because and learn from the mistakes. Like, there will be failures, and that's all right. This is probably what gives you the impulse to move further, really. So and that's the most valuable thing out of everything. So totally echo that. And also originally, as we were growing, and we specialize in building very strong partnerships with our clients. So we're probably not the standard software development company in a sense, because we aim at building these deep connections, making sure that we are culturally aligned with the clients, that actually our teams that are working as a natural extension of their delivery capability understand what they are after, never let them down, and actually, just do help, so do care. And from this point of view, one of the mantras for us as the company was quality over revenue, which actually echoes this job done well always pays off. It just picks up. So very similar experiences. Like, we both try, just get stuff done and care. So
get stuff done and care about your clients and customers. That's super true. Let's pivot back into a little bit on the company culture side, on the point that we are doing what we are still having these women in tech session, and we are still talking about a gender gap in the tech industry. And you both are working in a very different tech environment, but still a very tech heavy environment. What do you think? What do you still see there is a gender gap, or in your organizations, or in general? What do you think?
Mm-hmm. I can probably pick this up first, if you don't mind, Laura.
Yeah. It's okay.
A lot of people who join our company, they are quite surprised at the number of women that we have here. Like, just the latest stats, we had probably around 40% of staff who are women. And I was doing quick calculations because that made me think how many women we have in the leadership positions as well. And it appeared to be just perfect 50-50. So I don't know, we haven't done anything specific to achieve that, but it just happens. Having said that, obviously looking at the skill sets and the expertise, there are areas which are more tailored for women, and usually they fit there naturally better. So, for instance, 75% of our ADC division, ADC is like Agile Delivery Coordinators, like Scrum Masters and Delivery Managers, 75% are women. BAs as well, quality management, but even in the tech directions, in the engineering, 20% are women, which is quite a high percentage, especially after our experiences, as I said, working with the UK companies. Quite a lot of teams, when they're coming back from visiting the client offices, they were bringing the feedback that it's not that women rich. So and I even remember back in time, our CEO put on the slide as a unique selling point that 55% of our management team were women. I remember being quite even frustrated with that because I didn't think it was worthwhile mentioning, but then I recognized that, yeah, probably that's true. So
yeah, I think it's also important for the companies who are the role models or who are doing good to be speaking out loud and telling the benefits about it, what it can bring to the organization. And still there is, like you said, what I have been working with a lot of IT companies, and this is what we kind of like a lot of times see, is that, let's say, the marketing, the HR, the management side is very female dominated, but the engineering or the deep tech side is still, there is a gender gap. And going to Laura on that part, because you are working with this blockchain and a deep tech thing, what do you think? Is there still a gender gap existing in that industry?
I must say about myself that maybe I was a bit naive at the beginning of my career, thinking that everybody had equal access to education and equal access to technology jobs, and maybe they just didn't choose it. Women just didn't choose engineering because they just didn't want it. But I keep reading reports about, there is even a report, gender gap study, which is managed, I think, by the World Economic Forum. According to a report from 2019, for example, only 18% of board directors have been female in the information technology industry. And within the C-suite C-level jobs, the gender gap rises. For example, only 3% of CEOs are female, which is the lowest rate across industry. And the situation is even worse in the blockchain space, where you have 95% of the people, the resources are male, no matter their role in the industry, C-level or not. And according to the gender gap study, it will close, they made an estimate, the gender gap worldwide will close in approximately 136 years. But there are huge differences between various parts of the world. Like in Western Europe, it is estimated that the gap will close in 52 years. And in Eastern Europe, in a country where I reside as well, in 134. So the data shows as well that the gender gap is more likely to be present in fields, exactly the fields that require disruptive technology skills, like the ones that we are talking about, artificial intelligence and robotics and blockchain and computing. And you have here in disruptive technologies, only 29% of the resources are female. And why this happens is still under study. And frankly, I don't know the exact answer to that. The gap still exists. The reasons why are various, maybe are the ones that I mentioned before: education, family, environment, the country I live in, my self-esteem, labor market and stuff like that. But that's the situation. The gender gap exists even today.
And also, we have been working on this topic quite a lot, and we have been also researching on it, that why it's happening. And of course, company culture, how you put job advertisements, but also it starts from very early on, where you start putting, gender labels to girls, and you don't like math or you like arts, kind of thing. So it's a whole thing from the societal level, from the company level, that bringing more inclusion in tech is super important, because we know that inclusion and diversity will create inclusive products. Otherwise, it will be like we are creating products and missing 50% of the world population. So very important thing. And we are getting to the end of the session. We will take one question which we have, and then we can go to the closing words from both of you. And the question is is age a barrier to career development for women? Anybody who would like to go ahead with that?
Oh, I can take that. The answer, because short answer is no. I mean, at least at Modex, or at least in the companies where I have been present, the skill is always important, and a company pays you for your skill and not your age. So I would say maybe the difference, maybe there are other companies, other countries, other environments where this still matters. But for us, or at least in the IT environment, at least in my country, the skill is the most important one. And I think it is never too late to start learning technology.
Yeah. I think also one thing I would like to tell to all the audience here, or would like to ask everybody here, is that we as people who choose to work in the organizations a very important role in selecting the companies that are inclusive, that promote gender diversity, that like Modex and like Godel, that they said that provides good experience to women. And what we can do is we can, before applying, we can ask the people and the groups how they have been feeling, what they feel, because this makes the company also take action, that, hey, all the great talent goes to the companies that have a good culture, that gives a great experience to everybody, no matter what background they come from. So maybe next job application, or wherever you are trying to move to, remember that. And if you're having a company and you're an entrepreneur, try to build that company culture from the very beginning. Great. Now we have 4 minutes to end today's session. And maybe I will move on to Elena and then Laura to say the last words. That what advice would you give to the entrepreneurs, to our audience in terms of tech and growth in tech?
I think for the entrepreneurs, as we said before, I do think that diversity is a great asset, because it does help you to tackle problems at very different angles, and creates the great experience for everyone, and really unlocks people's potential. Because when you have safe environment with different views, this is where creativity flourishes, and really people want to strive for better results. And for women in tech, I think it is important to remember that we are women, just there are nuances, the differences, and it's not the bad thing. It's actually having high degree of empathy is a strength, and we need to recognize that and build on that. But equally, juggling a lot of family and routine stuff is a weakness. But again, knowing your weakness, you can battle it and actually build the positive experience for you. So it's better not to hide and just accept the truth as it is, and just go on, drive, just use your drive and passion to get to where you want to be.
Great. What about you, Laura? What are your last advice words for the audience?
What has been, and it is clear for me since the beginning, is a gender inclusive environment brings diversity in decisions and brings a balance, just like in the yin and yang concept. That concept doesn't exist just for nothing. It applies here as well. You need balance, and you need diversity. And if I would give advice to startups, no matter in what industry they want to enter, many things have been said, what is the key to success? But I personally, my personal belief, or my personal recipe to success is hard work with a job well done, and diversely skilled people this is an when you bring diversely skilled people, this is an attractive work environment for talent, and it makes people feel comfortable when exchanging ideas, and it signals investors as well that you have a competent management. And the third point in the recipe to success would be partnership with as many big companies as possible to validate your product. I mean it. So I keep repeating it.
Thank you so much, Laura and Elena, and thank you so much to all the audience for joining us here today. We heard some really inspiring stories from 4 of our guests today, and I had super fun talking and moderating this session. Hope you enjoyed it too. I think the main stage, the next event continues, so stay tuned and enjoy the Emerge conference, and we hope you a lot of success, and we will wait for you to hear some more inspiring stories. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.